AATBirds Weekly Report is the Eagle news, notes, and analysis you need. All about the birds. It's all birds, all the time.
And we have a game coming up. Cannot believe the season is here, right? Cannot believe the season is here already. Yeah. Johnny Ulecka, as always, with Matt Templin. We are here, AATBirds Game Plan. You're going to hear a lot of us, but
like it or not.
Yeah. Like it or not, we're going to break down this week one matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a lot to get into.
Yeah.
Injury reports, players that are playing. Of course, we have the Dallas Cowboys and all the basically drama going on over there. So there's a lot going on with both teams, but it's great to have football back. Like the chill in the air in the mornings are magnificent. To be able to wake up and, fall is in the air. It's great to see.
I have the door open. I'm in the basement. I have the door open. I'm a little cold. I love it.
No, it's great.
Bring it on, man.
It's what it's all about. But as we get into this preview, Matt, I wanted to talk about these two teams. We know about the rivalry. Listen, it's a divisional game. I know the Cowboys may not be as talented with the trading of their best defensive player in Micah Parsons, but yeah, it is still a rivalry game. It's a week one matchup. You don't really know what to expect from Brian Schottenheimer and Dallas Cowboys. Little burp there. Dallas Cowboys offense, and then
throw up in your mouth a little bit thinking about.
No, actually, I didn't. It was kind of like a little phlegm. If you want to get into it, and people can visualize that.
We're good.
But when you look at the Vic Fangio defense and some of these new pieces coming in, so there's a whole hell of a lot to get into with these two teams. Where do you want to start when you look at these two opponents? Well, these two guys going up against each other.
The first thing I want to dive into is I'm a little upset. All right, so it's kind of bittersweet for me. It's awesome that we are dropping the banner, coming off the Super Bowl in our own home for the first time in
2019. It's since 2019,
wow.
since
6 years.
Since Deshaun coming back to play.
Wow, that's actually insane. So first time in 6 years that we've been home, which is great. It's a Thursday night. We're kicking off the season. That's amazing. It's a night game. Vibes are at an all-time high. It's starting to feel like fall. We're playing a divisional opponent. And again, we're dropping that banner. We're hungry for football. That's the sweet part, right? The bitter part that I have is that we're starting off the season against a division opponent, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm a big fan of late in the season where it all counts, right? Where the teams are at, full strength, knowing the schemes, knowing each other. It's not the same as it used to be, right? When preseason was everybody's getting 4 games of reps in, and you hit the ground running in week one. That's just not the NFL anymore. So I don't like that. I don't like the fact that there's an unknown. I don't like the fact that it's a division opponent right off the back when both teams aren't at full strength. From that perspective, maybe health wise they are, but they're not in full swing yet. I don't love that, but I'm also the pros outweigh the cons, right? This is. What a cool way to start it off. What a cool way to drop the banner against Jerry and his Cowboys, fresh off of trading Micah Parsons. I'm interested to see how fired up they are without Micah, without their leader. Maybe not leader, but without one of the arguably top 50 players in the league. Definitely top 5 edge rusher. I'm interested to see how they come out with a new head coach against the defending champs. in a hostile environment. This they could be a dangerous team just because no one really knows what to expect. They're playing with house money, playing against the division champs. So there's a little bit of me that is cautious, right? But I'm also I'm very excited. I'm very excited to kick it off and against a Cowboys team who I absolutely despise.
So, and with your saying like you liked seeing the divisional opponents later in the year, and like for me, some of that is true, but some of that's like you see it where at the end of the year it doesn't matter, and then you're playing all the back. Like when you play them earlier in the year.
But I'm not talking like week 18 where it's like Washington and everybody's resting their starters. I'm talking about like a week 9, like week 9, week 10, something where
I get that.
where the teams are in the groove, and like I think this is what the second or third time that Hurts has played against Dak.
I think it's
one or the other. They've been injured, so like that's pretty cool to see. Like, yeah, I mean there are definitely some pros and some cons to this matchup.
And it's going to be interesting too when you look at the injury reports. And of course, the great news for the Philadelphia Eagles is Landon Dickerson practicing. Now, he had not practiced yesterday, which was Tuesday.
For a back injury, not his knee.
I know, for a back injury, but then
so weird.
Or no, he didn't practice on Monday. Today is Tuesday. This will be dropping on Wednesday. So just trying to get all my days lined up where they should be. But he was practicing full participant today. So that's great to see. Of course, you want him back. It makes your offensive line so much stronger. Of course, what was interesting too was Brett Toth was taking the snaps at left guard. So my guess is he's the one that's first in line. That's what it shows here, which is very interesting. And I guess
clarify, Brett Toth was taking reps yesterday. Right. We're talking Monday. Yeah. Because Dickerson was back. I don't think there's any question that he's going to play. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to read the Dickerson thing because it's like he's off the injury list from a knee perspective, or at least that's how it seems. Maybe they're just not listing multiple injuries. But it is interesting that
usually they do list multiple injuries. So he could be fine with the knee and just having.
What did CJ have? Like fingers, hand, and like groin or something. So yeah, I mean maybe he's fully healed from the knee. I think I saw a report today saying that he was fully cleared from that knee injury. So I would assume he's all systems go. But again, to your point, if he has to miss time, which he is pretty consistent with throughout his career, is missing a couple plays or having to leave halfway through the game and then returning the following week. But if he should miss time, it's very clearly Toth is the first guy up.
Yeah, and we'll see because as we have mentioned, like you just mentioned, he is one to miss some time, even during games here and there.
Even when he's healthy, yeah,
even when he's healthy, you're right. But taking a look at like the rest, there really isn't anyone else that's majorly in.
Yeah, the only other one there are two that caught my eye is Makuba is back, right?
Yeah,
like he's getting significant reps. He's coming back from the hamstring injury. Again, I think they were playing it pretty conservatively with him to get him ready for the first game of the season. I do think it will start off with Sydney taking a bulk of those reps, obviously. But I would not be surprised if they mix Makuba in some sub packages, like a dime look, right? Like he might be the first one off the bench and dime. They might do some fun stuff with Coop and Makuba. Vic kind of alluded to some fun stuff coming our way. So just keep an eye on Makuba and how they get him involved. That's one thing that I'll be watching. And then from an edge rotation perspective, Uche is off Well, not off the injury report, but he seems to be a full participant, and no question there as that third edge off the bench.
Yeah. And, I know we didn't really get into it and whatever, but the practice squad, all up and down, everything they're doing. So, like, what I say is, you and I have been talking back and forth with it. I believe Marcus Epps and Britton Covey will be the ones that are elevated from the practice squad.
I guess, yeah.
Britton Covey gives you that punt returner, so you don't have to use Coop, which is good to see. It's just not. You don't want your starter to be potentially get hurt. That's the biggest thing.
And he's the guy that's giving you reps at wide receiver too, right?
Exactly.
Like, they don't have a
pinch
true
if you
slot. They don't really have a true slot right now. I guess you could say Mechie could be, but he knows the system. He knows, like, in a pinch, he could jump in there and give you valuable wide receiver reps. But I think to your point, I think he's your part returner, so they don't have to subject Cooper and Cooper DeJean. That is, now that we have two Coops on the roster. But yeah, so that you're not putting Cooper DeJean or Dotson or AJ Brown or any of these other guys that they showed fielding punts the other day during practice. I think they'd prefer to get Covey to get his doors blown off like he crash test dummy like he does every year.
And it's good to have Marcus Epps too, because he's that veteran. You need 4 safeties. You need that special teams guy, and just in case, especially with Makuba coming back from an injury, you want to just make sure that you're okay there. What?
Let me ask you a question about Epps. Do you think it's more than just a depth guy? Like, do you think he's safety 4 right now, or do you think he's like legitimately pushing for a potential starting spot at some point this season?
I wouldn't say that it'd be impossible. I think it is a possibility, just because we've seen him be a serviceable safety for them.
He was a good player for us,
and he worked it into a contract with the Raiders. So for him, it was great. Unfortunately, he got hurt, the ACL and everything last year, and then wasn't really too strong this year or this offseason with the Patriots. And the Patriots had a lot of players in that safety role.
Some weird moves at that position between him and releasing Jabril Peppers,
and then having Kyle Duggar on the trade block. So
it's kind of a weird situation there in New England.
But it is a new coaching staff, so it could be just we didn't draft these guys, we didn't sign these guys, so they're not really
like Jabril Peppers can fit almost any scheme. Like I don't know. Yeah. I think there's some legal issues there, and I don't want to speculate. I don't want to get into it, but I don't know. It's kind of a weird vibe there in their safety room. I'm interested to see what they do this year, but I think Epps is a phenomenal depth piece. He's got that starting experience here. He knows the city. He knows the staff to an extent. He can contribute right away on special teams, and then maybe potentially move into a starting role. Who knows?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
With an interesting signing.
But when you look at the injury report for Dallas, like 2 main names on there that you have is, of course, Trevon Diggs and Tyler Guyton. They're starting corner 2. Well, corner 1 or 2. He's one of the starting outside corners, whatever you want to say it.
Sure.
And then you have their starting left tackle in Guyton. So it's going to be interesting to see if they play. It's going to be, it's going to be up in the air. There's potential that they could play.
They both have 2 full participation days. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, you're good.
They have two full starting full participation days, which typically indicates that they're going to play, unless there's some ridiculous setback. But even if they do play, right? And maybe we'll dive into this a little bit. But if Diggs plays, you have Diggs, you have Bland, right? Those are the 2 guys that.
And Kaiir Elam.
And then you have Kaiir Elam, who hasn't done shit in the league, right? I was actually really high on him coming out of Florida, I believe. And I thought he could be a good player. He's got decent size. He's got decent length. Just never made it in Buffalo. But he's not a slot.
So Bland probably would be the slot.
Not really a slot either.
But he probably would play slot then at that point.
right? And like Diggs is coming off of a major injury.
Yeah.
Bland has statistically or historically had a tough time with Smitty specific, like of all of our receivers. Smitty has given him the biggest fit. And then you have Kyer Elam, who hasn't really put it together yet. And then let's say that those three actually play well, but one of them goes down. Like everyone else is on PUP or IR. They have 3 or 4 guys that are on PUP or IR, and you're playing with bottom of the roster practice squad guys at corner. Like I wouldn't be surprised if both of their elevations are corners for this game.
And that's where like looking at their depth chart, looking at their corners, and kind of the way they stack up against Philly, and how the Eagles have the number of receivers, tight ends, the running back, and like the way that their weapons are distributed. You look at that, and I think Diggs will play just because of that. Now, one could have
a choice, yeah.
And I would agree with you with that, but like their depth chart, like they don't have, and again for them, they're trying to build now. You know, you traded Micah Parsons away, you got some draft picks. It's just trying to build their squad, and when you look at it, like Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson have played pretty well for them the last couple of years. Kyer Elam, and then Bland and Diggs, like you had mentioned. But then when you look at their depth chart of their backup corners, you have CJ Goodwin, who's a special teams player.
Teams guy, yeah.
You have Reddy Stewart, who is off waivers from Minnesota, and then you have another off waivers from what?
Was Stewart a UDFA?
He may have been for Minnesota. And then Trequezie Bridges. So, like, Siobhan Ravel was one of the draft picks. He's on the non-football injury list. You have Kalen Carson's on IR. He was another guy. And then you have Josh Butler, who's on PUP, who played decent last year. But again, when you look at their practice squad, and I think you're absolutely right. I think a guy like Robert Rochelle, who's a veteran, could definitely be called up, and even a guy like Zion Childress, it could be 2 corners, or at least 1 corner be called up. Because when you look at that, and you look at their other guy I mentioned, and Tyler Guyton, like if Tyler Guyton doesn't start, then it's either Hakeem Adeniji or probably Nate Thomas. Those would be the guys.
I mean,
unless they kick Tyler Smith out and they have one, and like a Brock Hoffman or TJ Bass play guard, they could do that as well.
He kicked Tyler out. But I think he's a better guard than a tackle, but he came in as a tackle.
But it's just interesting how they've stacked their roster. Like how we look at the Eagles and the way that they've kind of done their roster. If you look at the Cowboys, they have 4 receivers. That's it. They kept 4 guys. And now they kept 4 tight ends. Yeah, they kept Pickens, Tolbert, Lamb, and Turpin. That's it.
And they have Jalen Brooks, all the Jalen wide receivers.
Yeah,
Jalen
Holden,
Brooks,
Fournoi. I think it's going to be a corner and a receiver get called up. That's my opinion of what they did.
I don't disagree.
But it's going to be interesting to see how it all lays out. Same was with the Eagles when we were looking is Landon going to play, and everything that lines up there. It's going to be interesting because, like for me, the one key to the game that I have for this matchup is basically control the line of scrimmage, which that's with every game. But when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, you lose Micah Parsons. Okay, they acquire Kenny Clark, who's a better defensive tackle than Mozzie Smith. We know that. But he had a down year last year.
I'm a better D tackle than Mozzie Smith.
Well, but when you take a look at, you don't have to key on Micah Parsons anymore. Like Micah Parsons isn't your guy that you have to double and make sure you chip here, make sure you try to do and they still have talent. I'm not going to say they don't. Dante Fowler had 10 plus sacks last couple of years, I believe.
Sam Williams was on a roll before he got in legal trouble and they got hurt. And then you have 2 high round draft picks in Nealon and Ezeraku, who I loved coming out of Boston College. I mean, he was like we lucked out and we got Campbell, but like DE or Ezeraku was probably my draft crush at defensive end.
Yeah.
Like he could be a problem. I could see him being a problem for a guy like Mailata.
Yeah, because of the speed.
because of the speed. He seems to struggle with speed. But like all of a sudden, I don't want to talk up the Cowboys here, but like all of a sudden listen, they did not win the trade. Let me just put it that way. Like we're not calling it the Kenny Clark trade. We're calling it the Micah Parsons trade. They lost that. You don't give up a top 5 talent at edge rusher for an aging defensive tackle and 2, mid to late round first round draft picks. Like it's a bad move. I think it was a bad move by Jerry. I think it was a dumb move. I think they put themselves in a hole there by requiring that a D tackle comes back in that trade. I think it was a weird move. But again, they identified a weakness, and all of a sudden, they actually have a decent D tackle room.
Yeah,
like Kenny Clark and a Digizua, like that's a decent tandem there. It's not like Milton Williams and Jalen Carter, but like that's not bad, especially from a pass rushing perspective. And then you have Mozzie eat up blocks, and Solomon Thomas, who has shown that he can rush the passer. Like all of a sudden you have decent depth there at defensive tackle. But to your point, like assuming Landon is healthy, that line of scrimmage should be yours.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's going to come down to is Dickerson healthy? Can he play the full game? Can he play at least 80%?
And listen, like in the way I see it too is when you take a look at this Eagles offense, they're going to be doing probably similar to what Spags and the Chiefs did, and stopping Saquon and making Jalen throw the ball, because that's kind of
you're saying
the
the
best
Cowboys
option.
Do that?
Yeah, like to me, it's like the best option in terms of trying to do, because if you play,
I don't think they have another option, because it's not like they're going to clamp down AJ Brown with like a bunch of injured players. You know what I mean?
And like I said, don't be surprised if Trevon Diggs pulls up with a hammy or something. He hasn't played in any game action. Yeah, he practiced a couple times, but
don't be surprised if he comes up with a pick either. That guy's a pain in the ass.
He's a good against
player.
The Eagles.
When he's healthy, he's a good player, man.
Yeah, and listen, that's going to be if the Eagles are able to run the ball, it's going to be a long night, because if the Eagles are able to control the clock, and listen, I kind of expect them to do that, because I just feel like their offensive line is just so good.
Yeah.
And listen, you have to really look at it too. When you look at Dallas Cowboys, and DeMarcus Lawrence is gone as well. He's on Seattle. You lose Micah Parsons. DeMario Overshown is on PUP. You have a couple other guys on PUP. So like they're a little beat. And if they wind up missing Trevon Diggs as well, they're going to be pretty beat up when you look at their defense. And the Eagles have to take advantage of that. And the way to take advantage of that, to me, is being able to establish the run, and then using that to be able to take shots over the top, be able to go to Smitty, over to AJ.
Goddard.
But
I think Goddard. Let's
you're going to say
that.
what I was going to think. Go ahead.
Let's stay on that for a second. If you look at so Overshown, hell of a player, unfortunately goes down with an ACL last year.
I think it was an ACL.
Yeah.
No, it was I think it was.
It might have been Achilles.
I think it wasn't Achilles. I think it was Achilles.
Yeah, and so they went out and they said, Saquon's a pain in the ass. Let's load up on run stopping linebackers. And they went out and they got Jack Sanborn, who we were both kind of high on as a potential sneaky good starter from the Bears, kind of buried in that depth chart behind Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. And then they went out and signed Kenneth Murray from the Chargers. Not a world beater by any means at the linebacker position, but he's solid against the run. And that's pretty much it, right? And so if they do sell out there against Saquon, and they do sell out there even against, let's say, they try to take away AJ, I think Goddard and maybe even like some screens in the middle there. They've been working on shovel passes this year, which I freaking love. There have been a lot of reports about shovel passes in the middle of that offense to Shipley and Saquon. I'd love to see them bring that back. I think they could attack that middle of the field a little bit more with these linebackers.
I would agree with you.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that I just have a feeling that Goddard's going to have a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I just think that they can exploit that with these
I don't know
linebackers.
who's going to cover him. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they try and cover him with Donovan Wilson or Malik Hooker, try to get like a safety over there. But I don't know.
But then who do you have over the top for Smitty or AJ? Like that's got to be such a disheartening thing for defensive coordinators. It's like, all right, like how do we can do this, we can do that, we can try to shut down AJ Brown, we can try to shut down Saquon, but then like, what do you do about Goddard? What do you do about Smitty? What do you do about screen game? What do you do about Jalen running the ball? What do you do about like? It's just like it's gotta be such a headache.
Listen, it's a headache, but you remember the years of having the Greg Wards and the Travis, or the year of the Greg Ward and the Jalen Reagor and
Travis Fulgham and Arcega Whiteside.
We lived through all that.
I think.
But we deserve to have this kind of receiver room and these weapons and
just to us.
Exactly, to us. So the way I want to end it here is I want to, of course, do this game prediction.
Yeah.
Of course, who we think are going to win.
You want to go through your other the other keys of the game?
Yeah, let's go. I have one more that I want to do, and to me, it has to do with Dak Prescott, and it's controlling Dak Prescott because he does have good games against the Eagles. It's hard to have he usually has a good game against the Eagles, so it's trying to kind of like what the Eagles did in the NFC Championship game with Jaden Daniels, and if they're able to cause turnovers, it's going to be able to fuel them to get those extra possessions. I think the big thing is to be able to contain, because listen, when you look at the Dallas offense, yes, it's unknown. Now you have Javonte Williams. Is he an upgrade over Rico Dowdle? Miles Sanders. Okay. He'll probably run in the wrong lane.
He's facing his former, like he backed up Saquon at Penn State. Maybe he's extra motivated. Who knows?
And hey, he could be. Listen,
and his former team.
And exactly. So for him, it's, I wish him the best, but just not against the Eagles.
Yeah.
So the running back room, I believe, is probably better than they had last year. The tight ends are the tight ends. Ferguson's, a solid option.
In the ass,
And you look at the receiver room. CD is CD. He's going to do what he does. And then you have George Pickens. And then you have Turpin. He's going to be doing a lot of gadget stuff and everything. And then you have Tolbert. So, like, their offense is something that's pretty good. But I think the main thing, too, is when you talk about containing Dak, it comes of what I said before with the other key was controlling the line of scrimmages. Because if you're able to get pressure on him and get in his face and not give him that, that time to be able to pick you apart, then it's going to be a fun game to watch and a fun time to be able to attack where you can attack and know that you're getting to the quarterback, you're getting in his face, and you're causing pressure, you're causing untimed throws and missed throws and potentially game-changing throws that are interceptions for the Eagles end. So it's going to be interesting, but that's, to me, those are kind of two things that kind of they intertwine of the first thing I said with the controlling the line of scrimmage, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
100%. I agree with you. And it's, one of the things around controlling the line of scrimmage is we have some up and coming studs potentially in Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, right? But I'm more just talking about the edges. I'm actually pretty sold on Ojomo, and we have been since he was drafted. I thought he was a steal when we got him. I had him projected as a 4th round pick that year. I'm interested to see where Nolan and Jalix, specifically Jalix, like we kind of know what Nolan is, as long as he can stay healthy. But seeing Jalix in a starting role, seeing how he controls the line of scrimmage, sets the edge, right? Like that's going to be a big thing.
Yeah, I would
so
agree with you there.
That's where I would just tack on with the controlling the line of scrimmage. And you mentioned Turpin when talking about the offense. And when I think Turpin, I think special teams. And my key to the game is to be solid on special teams, specifically from a kick coverage perspective, whether that's punts or kickoff. Because this preseason was not great. And this preseason was with players that you're projecting to be your starting special teams. Right? And so I think we need to I think Clay, all eyes are on
Jake Elliott
Clay.
did look pretty good though.
Jake and see that's like, I'm not worried about the punter. I think man looks amazing this preseason. Knock on wood. Elliott has looked good. Hewlett had a couple rough snaps in that first game, but since then settled down. I'm not worried about the specialists. I'm worried about the coverage against Turpin specifically on special teams. That's where
especially with the kick return, because the kick returns are going to be an emphasis. They want more kick returns. Yeah. And he is a bona fide electric kick returner.
Yeah. And if you're in a tight game, in a divisional game in week 1 against this could make or break the season. I know that sounds weird. It's not a must win, but like it's significant to placement in the playoffs, right? Because this is a divisional opponent. And if it's a close game and a big kick return comes in, it could be a backbreaker. So that's probably the only thing that I'm super nervous about, just because I don't feel settled there. I don't think we got any answers there in the preseason. It didn't seem to get any better. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Clay was just trying some shit out, and maybe some of those guys. I didn't really key in on who was playing, but like a lot of those guys that I think were on those teams are on the team now. So keep an eye on that.
You're gonna want to be able to. You're gonna want to be able to see these guys able to make open field tackles, make sure they
Ringo like
lanes.
You didn't have Sidney Brown as your gunner anymore. So like, who's filling that spot? And Ringo is seemingly on the other end. And he's borderline. We talked about it, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago. He got all pro votes. He got Pro Bowl votes. Like, he's a good special teamer. But who's going to be that second gunner? So I don't know.
Hey,
a lot to think about there.
The New Orleans Saints did release JT Gray, who is a 3-time All-Pro special teams player. So I
wouldn't be surprised if we look.
You never know. But this now brings us to a fun segment that we always do. You're new to it, so it's going to be fun, but it's going to bring us to this fun little segment.
It's time for the Ulecka Locks of the week. Who's your lock?
And it gives a little NFL primetime music in the background for you.
The Raiders.
Ricky running Waters.
Mike Allstott. Boom. All right. Anyway.
So it brings us to the prediction time. I'll go first. So the way I see this game going is I think it's going to be close early. But the way that I eventually see happening is the Eagles taking charge and being able to take over with their talent and beating the Dallas Cowboys 27-17.
Ooh, interesting. I also have a close game here, at least through the first 3 quarters. I see the Eagles winning 24-12, holding the Cowboys to 4 field goals.
Ooh, that would be great. Now,
that'd be a weird score, by the way.
It would be a pretty weird score.
Yeah.
Now this brings us to our Ulecka Lock. Now, Ulecka Lock is something it's going to happen. It could be this weekend. It doesn't have to be this game. You could do it for this game, but it doesn't have to be this game. It could be college football. It could be NFL football, but something you see is an absolute lock.
Wow.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted me to go first
No,
or you.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I can go first on my Ulecka lock, and I'm gonna do it for this game, just because it is week 1, and it's just I think it's something that we're going to do. And what I have here is Jalen Hurts is going to have 250 passing yards, 40 rushing yards,
Wow.
and he's going to have 2 total touchdowns.
Okay. That'd be.
It's
sign
pretty
me up.
tough. It's yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But so
Sign me
290 total yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'm going to go with
Brings it
something
to-
a little more simple, and I'm also going to stick with this game because you caught me off guard. I'm
Well,
going
you'll
to
know
go
for
with,
next week.
Yeah, now I know. So I'm going to go with the defense here, and I think we pick up where we left off. And
Okay.
I'm going to go with 5 combined sacks and 2 total turnovers.
Okay, that's a good start to week 1 for our Ulecka locks, and we do keep score. It's sometimes not very pretty in recent years. It's
Yeah, I
just
don't
kind
think
of
it's
how
gonna
it's
go
been.
well for me.
Yeah,
But we'll see.
but yeah. So that's
I like
what we have there, and
We
it's
just
fun.
have this
and,
music. Can we just have this music the entire time for every show now? Just always in the background.
is that what you want?
I kind of want to go to sleep to that tonight. That was awesome.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
Hell yeah.
Or you can do that.
You have drops now?
I do have some
Wow.
drops.
Wow, we're listen to that, folks. We're legit now. We have drops. Who
Hey,
needs WIP?
one of your favorite drops would be this one. A little draft chime.
I didn't hear anything there.
Hold on, I'll put it louder for you.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Oh, love that sound. I love that sound.
I know.
But I'm ready
You
for
know,
football, baby.
I got the
I'm ready
NFL
for real
prime time, and I got America's game. So, yeah. And for everybody, Eagles America's game
Yeah.
is going to be, well, as you're watching this, it's going to be
Sure.
tonight, Wednesday, September 3rd. So make sure you watch that. It's going to probably have a lot of fun content in there.
Yeah.
And of course, it's never too old to keep watching. As fans,
And
we can
real-
keep reliving it. As players, a little bit different, but
Yeah. And some housekeeping for those who are going to the game. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, some things to keep in mind if you are going to the game. SEPTA is going to be a nightmare. The Eagles came out and said, figure out a different way to get there. Go somewhere else and watch a game. Don't come to the stadium. So plan accordingly. It's going to be a nightmare. Traffic's probably going to be crazy. It's also light up the night. So make sure if you're going to the game and you have your tickets, download the app. You can hold your phone up, be part of the festivities when the team comes out. Boys to Men will be singing the anthem. And for those of you that are crazy about matching your apparel to what the players are wearing, such as myself, we are midnight on white on Thursday. Midnight jerseys, white pants.
you know what? I like this. I think at the end of each preview game plan show,
Yeah.
you have to come up with 3 or 4 things that you have to just let everyone know about. Uniform combo,
There it is.
a couple little tidbits, little things. I think that's great. We'll come up with something to call it.
Templin's tidbits.
I don't know. Temps tits.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Temps tits.
We're
Yeah,
gonna get canceled.
yeah. Well, if we haven't already, I don't know. But yeah, with that, as we always end it, we end it with a very happy and joyful Go Birds.
Birds.
Go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.